Welcome to the Heart of a Viking. This channel offers elementary art lessons taught by Mrs. Minto from the Cape Henlopen School District in Delaware. I look forward to virtually creating with you. There are new lessons posted weekly. Subscribe to the channel to make sure you don't miss a single one. So go grab your art supplies and your thinking caps and let's begin. Third grade artists, I'm excited to start this project with you. We're actually going to make 4 little mini works of art. So let's start by folding our paper in half. Make sure you push down on those folded edges to make them nice and flat. Then you're going to fold it one more time in half the opposite way, so left to right. It should look like a little card for somebody at this point. Folding edge nice and flat. And then you can open it back up and it should look like you have a plus sign made out of folds going down the middle and across the middle. Okay, I'm going to use a crayon to trace those folds. Oh, I'm so strong, my crayon broke. Okay, so I'm going to use a crayon to trace those folds. You can use whatever color you want. I'm choosing a color that makes me happy today. And in case you didn't notice, I am pressing hard, and I'm doing that because I want to make sure that I am creating a wall out of crayon so that my watercolor paints don't spill over. Okay, so next you'll need some watercolor paints. I have a watercolor tray here, and I have a nice rounded paintbrush and a cup of water. All right, so we're going to be painting 4 separate little pictures here, and each one is going to represent a different season or different type of weather, which kind of go together. The first one we're going to make is summer. So I think yellow is the perfect color to represent summer because of that nice warm sun. So I'm using my water first, then some yellow paint, and then I'm painting the entire spot yellow. Now, once I get the whole space yellow, I'm going to then give my brush a quick rinse, and then I'm going to get some orange paint. And I'm going to try and add some orange paint to my yellow paint. And it's up to me to decide how much orange I want to add, because I'm trying to create my own custom color here. It'll be a yellowish orange color that just reminds me of the warmth of the summer sun. So the technique that I'm working on with my watercolor paints right now is called color mixing. I'm mixing 2 colors together to create a new custom color, yellow-orange. Okay, that one's all done. So now I'm going to move to another space, and I'm going to move to the season of fall. So right after summer is fall or autumn, and for this one, I want to make a sunset. So I'm starting with that same nice yellow at the bottom here. And after I get my yellow, I'm going to give my brush a quick rinse and grab some orange. Because for my sunset, I want the sky to slowly change from one color to the next. This technique is called color blending because I'm not actually mixing the colors together. I'm just sort of letting them blend a little bit where they overlap. So I can still see yellow, I can still see orange, but I can also see a little bit of that yellow-orange in the middle. So now I'm moving on to red, and I'm going to do the same thing with red and orange that I did with yellow and orange. I'm going to have some red, I'll have some orange, but right in the middle there, I want to see some red-orange, a little bit of that red blending with the orange. Next, I'm going to move over to purple. Purple is really dark. I know it looks black there, but that is my purple. And I'm going to do the same thing with red and purple. I'll have purple, I'll have red, and I'll have a space here where they blend together. The one thing I don't want is I don't want stripes of color. The sky would never look like that. It would always has the colors blending together. So that's your goal for this space. Get those colors to blend. Okay, so now go ahead and grab your white crayon and we're going to move to spring. So for spring, I always think of rain. So what I'm doing with my white crayon is I'm not drawing rain, but I'm drawing, like, for example, if you were to throw a little pebble into a puddle of water, you would see the ripples or the rings that sort of echo out from where the pebble flew into the water. And that's what I'm making right now. I'm making a circle with a bigger circle around it and a little bit bigger of a circle around that one. Then, after I'm done pressing hard with my white crayon, I'm going to paint over it with my blue watercolor paint. And what happens is crayon resists the watercolor paints and allows me to see what I've drawn. It's kind of like art magic. I love this one. So make sure you press hard with those white crayons so that you also will see your ripples as you paint over them too. Okay, so that one's all done now too. Our technique there was called crayon resist. So now I'm moving on to winter. And winter, I'm going to actually use some snow. Wait a second, no, that's not snow. That's actually salt from my table at home. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint my two most wintry colors. So I'm using some blue and some purple. And I'm going to sort of blend them together, kind of like how I did with my sunset for fall. I noticed I had too much purple there, so I rinsed out my brush and I'm moving that purple around. I don't want it to be thick. Now I'm going to use my pincher fingers, pinch a little salt, and sprinkle it on. So it looks kind of cool right now, but this isn't the cool part. What we have to do is finish painting and then let that dry. Because as it dries, the salt sort of soaks up the paint right where the salt is sitting. So when I let it dry and then later I brush the salt off once it's all dry, the salt will have soaked up so much of the paint in those little areas that it looks like dried crystals and it looks like ice snowflakes all over that space. It's amazing and beautiful and I can't wait for you to try it. So all you do is just use some blue and some purple, mix them together to make the most wintry colors you can, and then as it's wet, sprinkle some salt on and then let it dry. Don't mess with the salt during the drying process. Just sprinkle and let it go. And that's it. So for today, we're just going to let this dry. And then whenever we return next week, we're going to complete this work of art by adding some three-dimensional parts to it. We're also going to be cutting these apart and gluing them to a separate sheet of paper. So I can't wait to do all that with you, and I'll see you back here next time at the Heart of the Viking to finish this up.